Doctors could be on the brink of a breakthrough.
Migraines.
How to control them.
Tame a migraine.
A severe migraine.
Throbbing, recurring headaches.
Given all the noise, navigating the migraine experience can be confusing and scary, but you do not have to do it alone. Welcome to the Migraine Guy Podcast, the official podcast of themigraineguy.com and theheadachereview.com. Now, here's your host.
Hey there, thanks so much for joining the conversation today. If you're new to The Migraine Guy, here at The Migraine Guy, I strive to bring you informative and entertaining material, whether it be on YouTube, in this podcast, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, anywhere that you find The Migraine Guy. That is my mission. Being alone is not an option when you have a chronic pain condition, and so I strive to put out regular content. So even if you're confined to your home because of your chronic illness, you can still know that you are not alone. Now, let's get to the show. What is up, pod people? It's Kevin here, the Migraine Guy. This week's podcast, we're going to be talking about CBD oil and migraines. If you have not listened to my marijuana and migraines podcast, I believe it was episode 3, make sure, maybe it was episode 2 actually. I wanted to do something kind of hot button issue, so I think I threw the marijuana one in early. Make sure to check out all the podcasts, of course, but I think it's the second or the third podcast where we talked about marijuana, THC versus CBD, the cannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system in your body. All of that's kind of prerequisite information that I'm only going to give a little summary of right now. So in your body, you have a system that is called the endocannabinoid system. Has a variety of functions, a variety of tasks that it completes, but one of the most important is that it tries to reach homeostasis internally. It tries to keep your body homeostatic. One way that it does that is it tries to regulate pain that's being sent from your body to your brain. And so if you can activate the endocannabinoid system, it can help reduce your sensation of pain. And so one way you can do that is by ingesting in a variety of forms cannabinoids, of which THC and CBD, both found in marijuana, are. And so that is why many chronic pain sufferers at a variety of levels find great relief when they get something like medical marijuana. Smoking some marijuana introduces both THC and CBD into your system. THC additionally has a psychotropic effect, so you feel that high sensation, and that helps reduce pain overall. If you want to hear about my experience with THC, make sure to listen to the original podcast. CBD, as I said, does not have any psychotropic effects. So if you are worried about any of those high feelings, you don't like it, or you're worried about it, or whatever, you can rest assured that a CBD only product is not going to give you that high sensation. It will activate your endocannabinoid system. It will do lots of the things that research shows could help with your migraine pain and frequency, but it isn't going to get you high. You're not going to be, quote, tripping, right? You're not going to be feeling any of those weird side effects. So that's the reason that I was really hopeful when I got my CBD oil and vape pen from AlternativeVibes.com. Now, Alternative Vibes did send it to me for free for the purposes of an honest review. The review is the full review is going to be on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/themigraineguy. So make sure to check that out when it is posted in a couple weeks. But today, we're just going to be talking in general about my experience with CBD, not so much the particular Alternative Vibes product or the vape pen, but just my experience with the CBD so far. So when you get a vape pen, if you've ever gotten one before, they're just kind of basic devices. There's going to be a part that has a battery. There's going to be the atomizer and the vaporizer part, and then there's going to be the little part that you put in your mouth and inhale. And so it's a pretty simple system. You just keep it charged, keep the CBD oil full, and you can puff away on it and inhale the vape that is coming out, the vapor that's coming out. I have not found the vape pen way to ingest CBD to be very effective. Now, I need to qualify this. It's not that I have definitive proof. My migraines have been a little erratic the last few weeks. There's been a lot of stuff going on, traveling, trying to buy a home, lots of stress associated with that. And so there could be outside factors inhibiting me from seeing the full benefits of vaping CBD oil. So I want to make sure that that is clear. I haven't had a consistent schedule over the last few weeks of testing the product in order to really make sure that it is or is not working. So I'm going to continue to use it, and if I notice anything changing, will of course bring you an updated podcast. But so far, vaping CBD oil has not either reduced my migraine frequency or reduced my migraine pain. And that is in stark contrast to when I ingested THC. In the podcast about that one, I kind of told some anecdotal stories about anecdotal stories. Isn't that redundant? I gave some anecdotal evidence that THC was very beneficial for my migraines because within about half hour, 45 minutes of ingesting THC, I noticed migraine pain reduction and kind of a pleasure in life, being able to ignore the pain to a degree so that I could focus on other things that without THC was very difficult. When I notice that I have a migraine and start vaping on the CBD oil, I do not really notice anything. Additionally, in case there's some sort of tolerance that I need to build up, I have tried to smoke it, or I guess not smoke it, I've tried to vape it consistently at about the same times every day for about the same number of inhalations. And so there is also a concern that when I'm vaping, I'm getting a very, very tiny amount, whereas if I'm eating an edible like I did in Colorado, I'm getting 10 full milligrams of THC, whereas vaping CBD oil, I might be getting, fractions of that. So there are those considerations to take into account as well. And so I'm thinking that vaping just doesn't introduce enough of the CBD oil into my system to give the pain relief benefits that I'm seeking from a cannabinoid product. And so even though the vaping is kind of fun, I really, really do love cigars. And so being able to vape kind of mimics the cigar experience. I don't think vaping is going to be something that's going to provide a lot of benefit for me. So that means I need to upgrade my intake. I need to get more CBD oil in my system and be able to see if that helps my migraine pain. And so what I'm going to do, the vape pen set came with the little vape pen in all of its components and with CBD oil. So the CBD oil, I'm not going to be putting into the vape pen anymore. I'm going to be using it under my tongue, a few drops at a time, and that's going to be much more CBD introduced to my system than would be vaping. It would take basically vaping the entire pen, the contents that it holds, the amount that it holds, in order to reach that amount. So I'm going to do that over the next couple weeks and see if that helps my migraine pain. Additionally, I'm going to try and regulate a lot more of the environmental circumstances right now. As I said, a lot of traveling over the last couple weeks, a lot of stress associated with trying to get a home with my wife. And so a lot of that stuff is now basically taken care of. And so I'll be able to focus a lot more on being consistent, not only with my sleep, my diet, my day-to-day activities, but I'll be able to be a lot more consistent with CBD intake. And so I think the next couple weeks are going to be the real determining factor about whether or not CBD oil can help me. Because if I'm not getting enough CBD oil by vaping, I'm going to be increasing that, as I said, by taking it under the tongue. And if that doesn't help, then there really isn't any other amount of CBD oil that I could get into my system. It's going to be, hundreds of percents increased over the next couple weeks by taking it under the tongue. And so that is just kind of going to be the end of the line for me. Now, maybe you know of a much more efficient, much better way to get CBD into your system. Maybe some edibles that have 10 milligrams of CBD would be vastly superior than doing something under the tongue, some sort of oral ingestion. So if you know that, please hit me up on social media at The Migraine Guy. Let me know what would be best. I'm very ignorant in this area because I've basically stayed away from marijuana my entire adult life because I really hate the psychotropic effects, which is why I was so excited about CBD oil. So now that I'm getting into CBD oil, if you have a non-vaping method, or maybe I just need a better vape vaporizer, if there are better ones out there that I should be looking into, whereas the little USB pen isn't really meant for the kind of use that I am needing, let me know that too, because that would be great information, not just for me, but for other chronic migraine sufferers. Now, I do want to cover something that all migraine sufferers curious about CBD products need to know. Technically, CBD, even though it doesn't have any psychotropic effects, CBD technically, under current laws, is just as illegal as THC. It's the kind of thing that you can get busted for. It's the kind of thing that can get you in a lot of trouble. And so even though it's not psychotropic, even though it's not going to make you a threat to society or be a gateway drug to something worse, that's tongue-in-cheek, by the way, when I say that, it is something that is illegal. It is something that could be problematic for you in terms of getting in trouble with the law. And so you need to really weigh the benefits of it. And so that's why I am willing to be the test dummy. I'm willing to go ahead and give it a shot. And if it helps me, then you'll know. And if it doesn't help me, you will know that also. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing it under the tongue. And if that shows a drastic reduction in my migraine pain, I will certainly let you know. Now, as I said, I'm going to test it for a couple weeks. I want to make sure that I try and see if over long usage, I have a consistent response. I don't want anything to perhaps be a one-off circumstance. So that's what you can look forward to in a few weeks, an updated CBD oil podcast where I'm using the actual CBD oil directly into my system, introducing it directly into my system instead of vaping it, because vaping it just doesn't seem to be working that well. Now, additionally, something else I want to mention, not related to CBD oil or cannabinoids in general. This is that in July, I'm recording this today, what is it? I think it's June 20th today. From July 10th to July 17th, there is going to be another migraine conference online. In April, we had the Migraine World Summit. In July, we're going to have the Headache and Migraine World Summit, little competition there. And the Headache and Migraine Summit that's going to be in July is going to have 30 talks from 30 different speakers. Now, most of these people doing the talks are going to have PhD, MD, or some sort of specialization in their title. So that's good. It would be real easy to get some maybe whack jobs out there talking about a variety of topics, but they seem to be oriented on bringing in pretty knowledgeable people that can talk to you about migraine prevention and migraine treatment. Now, unlike the Migraine World Summit from April, this summit is going to be primarily, actually entirely focused on lifestyle changes and how those can affect your migraines positively or negatively. So if you're curious about supplements, if you're curious about maybe some more homeopathic remedies, if you're curious about hormones, if you're curious about that kind of stuff, this is a conference for you to watch. Now, I haven't had a ton of time. Like I said, they're having 30 speakers. I haven't been able to really research all of the speakers in detail, but it does seem like it's going to be a pretty good conference. And even if it isn't a good conference, let's just think worst case scenario. Even if it's not a great conference, at least it's something that is promoting migraine awareness. And that really is important. Migraine awareness really needs to be increased in a variety of ways. And having conferences like this is a way to do that. Telling your friends, telling your family about it, listening to, watching the videos, talking about them with friends and family, talking about them with your online support groups is a way to help get migraine advocacy going. Something like, getting a hashtag on Twitter to trend, as silly as that is to say, is a way to raise certain things into people's overall awareness. And that really helps us as kind of a minority, a fringe group of chronic pain sufferers, get our, and by that I mean the way people in normal society would categorize this. They don't really think of migraine as a chronic pain condition. They just think it's kind of a bad headache. So bringing issues like this to the forefront, talking about them constantly, having online conferences, getting hashtags to trend on Twitter and Facebook, these are ways to take us from the fringe in their minds to the forefront so that they can know what we face on a day-to-day basis, what we face on a monthly basis, what it's like to have a chronic condition, and all of the different ways that we try to combat it. And a lot of those ways don't work out so well. So it's really important that we do this together. It's really important that we watch it, listen to it. It's free, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that already. It is entirely free. Every talk is free to watch as they air. Now, if you miss a talk by 24 hours, I believe, so they get released every day. I think the videos get released every morning, and then you have 24 hours to watch them all. If you miss that day's videos, you actually cannot go back and watch them for free. You're going to have to pay for the videos if you miss them. So it's very important that if you're interested in a particular talk, that you try to figure out a way to get access to it. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for some of the videos or all of the videos if you want them. They have a variety of pricing options, so you can check that out on their website. I personally am planning on watching a lot of them the day of and not planning on paying for them. If there's a way to get out of paying something, I am the guy to talk to because I am not going to do it. Okay, so that's going on. In the show notes, you can click the link to their website. Additionally, if you're listening on YouTube, you can go to the show notes below or the video description, and click that. There's a link there. And if you are checking this out on Facebook, you can just look in the comments section and the link is there as well. So those two things are what today's show was about. I haven't seen a ton of benefit from CBD vaping, so I'm upgrading it to drops in my mouth underneath my tongue. And there is a migraine summit, another one coming up in July to pay attention to watch, and to help raise awareness about, because it helps all of us. Rising tides help all boats. So if we can get more migraine awareness, then each of us will benefit to some degree. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about today. Hope you are doing well. I don't have any other serious or fun anecdotes to talk about. Last time, I think I was sharing a story about how my migraines were. My migraines have been, as I said, somewhat inconsistent lately, somewhat weird. I've been a little more anxious and nervous about this whole home buying process to the point where I don't know if I had a full-on panic attack, but I genuinely felt like my heart was going to jump out of my chest because it was pounding so hard, and I felt extremely overwhelmed and was having trouble breathing for a little bit. So it might have been a full-on panic attack, but that's kind of been where my mind has been lately. So my migraines have kind of taken a backseat to my anxiousness, which I guess is good-ish. I don't know. Can I just be normal for a couple days? Is that an option? So that's been going on. I'll let you know if you care about what goes on with the home buying process in the future. Additionally, if you want to hit me up on social media. Oh, all right. Today's question of the day. We didn't do the question of the day yet. What should today's question be? Let's say, are you going to register for the Headache and Migraine Summit that is coming up in July? Make sure to share the summit with friends and family, even if they don't care, don't know, don't understand what a migraine is. You really can make an impact on their life by helping them even just watch one talk. Because watching someone in the profession, a medical professional, a supplement provider, something like that, talk about migraine can help them hear it from someone besides you. And sometimes that's the kind of conceptual break that they need to see how serious your condition is. So if you have a loved one who doesn't understand your migraines, maybe try to watch one of the videos with them. That could be a great way to help them see life from your perspective. So yeah, let's make that the question of the day. Are you going to register, and are you going to watch it with anybody else? If you need people to watch it with, or at least talk to about it with, make sure to search out the Migraine Guy support group on Facebook. We have a very, very active, very supportive, and growing community there. It's a private group. You have to answer some questions before you can join, but that's because we're very protective of our members and keep people who are trying to scam us or promote cures that are not cures out of the group. So make sure to check that out if you need a community, if you need someone to talk to, and if you want to talk to people who are going to be participating in watching this upcoming summit. So until next week, take it easy. If you want to help keep everything that the Migraine Guy does free, then you can become a patron over at the website patreon.com. That's Patreon.com. Patreon lets people contribute funds to other people whose work they value. Becoming a patron does things for me, such as allowing me to buy new products so that I can do product review videos so that you know whether or not a given migraine product actually works before you buy it. It also helps me do things like upgrade the microphones and cameras for both the YouTube channel and this podcast. And more importantly, it helps me be accountable to you, my migraine community. You can pledge as low as $1 a month if you want to, and every single dollar does help. Just head over to patreon.com/themigraineguy to become a patron today.